Hello there, listeners, and thank you for joining us on the CATCast, Chatham Area Transit's podcast where we focus on everything local transit and Chatham County. Get ready for an extraordinary episode. Today's show will be hosted by CAT's Executive Director and CEO, Faye DiMassimo. Today, she will be joined by the incredible Dr. Amy Williams, Executive Director of the Savannah Philharmonic. But hold on tight, because the excitement doesn't end there. Joining them are two more special guests from the Savannah Philharmonic, the remarkable violinist Sinisa Ciric, Director of Artistic Operations, and the talented Brad Behr, Bassoonist, and the Education and Community Initiatives Manager. Prepare to immerse yourself in this extraordinary fusion of music, transit, and artistic vision.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of CATCast. We're so glad to have you all join us, and today is an especially special CATCast because we've got a little different broadcast today, a little different look at how CAT serves in the community, and we have partners that are serving in the community that have shared missions to ours. So today I'm joined by Amy Williams, who's Executive Director of the Savannah Philharmonic. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So in addition to some music that you're going to be hearing today, Amy and I are going to be talking about the shared missions that we have between CAT and the Savannah Philharmonic. We both share a mission to bring music and mobility to all of the community. So Amy, talk a little bit about your mission and how you do that.
Absolutely. So it's really, truly what you said, making sure that the entire community can access and feels comfortable accessing music and music education. So we really pride ourselves on being a community-focused arts organization. And then what that means is that we are out performing in, yes, at the beautiful Lucas Theater, but also in parks, in local neighborhoods, and bringing musicians into the neighborhoods, talking to the crowds, talking to the community to really build the bridge that only music can really bring us together in that manner.
Absolutely. Tell us, I'm sure that you've got stories about when you've been filling the neighborhood or some of this outreach that you're doing, mm-hmm. this very intentional being accessible to everyone. I'm sure that there's some special stories that you've learned from all that. Talk a little bit about.
There really are. And one of them is that it was really an experiment. Our Fill the Neighborhood series was an experiment this past year. We did 9 concerts over 3 weekends, and we had no idea if the community was going to embrace us or what it was going to be. And we just connected with a neighborhood association or with a community leader to make sure people got there. So when we started it, we anticipated 50 to 100 people at a concert. And what we saw instead was 300 to 600 people at a concert coming together, hanging out. And I would say what was the most fun is that the weekend that we had one canceled because of the hurricane, but then we were in a field the next day, sitting in the grass, and the blues artist was coming in, was letting children strum his instrument, and it was really special to really just see it all come together and come to life.
Well, talk a little bit about, I heard you share a story about how your desire to bring music to everyone started from your own experience as a child of thinking about who gets to go to concerts and whether you have to be all dressed up and all those kinds of things. Talk a little bit about that, because I thought that was a powerful story.
Absolutely. So for me, being community-focused arts organization, yes, that's our mission, but it also is my personal mission. Because when I was a child, I was playing an instrument. My parents were very supportive of driving me all over the state of Massachusetts to get to lessons and rehearsals. But when I asked to go hear the Boston Symphony, they said it wasn't for us. They didn't know what to wear. They didn't know how to act. They didn't know when to clap. So it's really, today, it's my opportunity to be in the community and to help break down those barriers and to share that personal story so that people don't feel that they're alone in not knowing what to wear, not knowing when to clap, and not knowing what to expect. So it is that element of, and that's sort of what's behind Fill the Neighborhoods and some of our community initiatives, to just break down the barrier so that anyone can come into the concert hall
Absolutely.
and experience it.
So we talked about that we have a shared mission,
Absolutely.
and just like your mission is to bring music to everyone, which we absolutely appreciate, our mission is to bring mobility to everyone. And one of the things that CAT has ongoing right now, and we're nearing completion of, is CAT's first master transit plan. And we are doing some unique things, as you have done, to reach out into the community, to be where the community is, to make it feel comfortable, to offer up all kinds of opinions and ideas. And it has truly, this master transit plan is truly going to be a community-shaped, community-grown master transit plan. And you're going to see things. Everyone's used to our buses that roll through the community, connecting people even now. And they're used to our paratransit services, CAT Mobility, that helps to serve those in the community that are seniors or those that are differently abled. But one of the things you're going to see in the future is microtransit, which is a whole new transit product. I'm sure you have whole new products in the music industry too, like your approaches. But it's in effect, we'll be serving in a zone, and we'll be connecting people on demand. You'll call up your transportation or your mobility need on your app, and we'll take you from the places that you need and want to go in a much more customized fashion. So almost like an Uber Lyft of transit. And we're incredibly excited about it. It's gotten tremendous response. And I think the really interesting thing about our discussion in Master Transit Plan and about microtransit has been that the support that we've seen in the community, similar to what you're seeing for different kinds of venues and things, is that those in the community that have some of the greatest transportation needs think that's a really good idea. And those in the community that have a lot of mobility options but see that as a different and new sort of opportunity for them as well. It's like everybody sort of embraces this. And our goal, just like yours, is to bring mobility to everyone. So in addition to staying tuned for all that you have coming, stay tuned for all that CAT has coming too.
Well, and I think it's so important to both of our organizations thriving. We love to share that we're something for everyone, but we can't be something for everyone if not everyone can get to us. And I think that was sort of the start of our conversation.
It was
that we won't succeed unless CAT succeeds. And so we're moving through this together.
Absolutely. And I think in a different way, you're also essential to our success, because I think thriving communities, and I've said this before, the very best communities in America are communities, great cities, great places, have great transit systems. They also have great music, great culture, great opportunity. And opportunity takes on so many different faces, including things like the Savannah Philharmonic. So we're appreciative of
it's exciting
everything you do. Absolutely. So Amy, you and I, we're going to switch gears a little bit. You and I both occupy positions and have had career paths that, historically have been held by men. So talk a little bit about your journey and your experience and how that shaped you into the position that you're in today.
Absolutely. And really, there's a lot of truth to that. Still today, there's a lot of executive directors and CEOs of orchestras that are male. So it is still sort of a male-dominated field in much of the larger budget organizations. So it is very much that. It's been a career, and it's been a shift through that. But I think, one of the key things about it, as I've been thinking about this, is that what's been phenomenal is that the mentorship that's come from other female CEOs, not just in music, but in other fields that I've met along the way, as I'm sure you've experienced as well, that have sort of helped me understand how to walk in the room and show up at the table and understand maybe some of the criticisms that I'm going to get, but not let that deter me from doing it, but really just putting myself forward and just plowing through.
Very good. So my experience also similar. So I've been in the transportation business, not just transit, but in the transportation business for about 43 years now. And you can imagine when I first started out, first of all, it's a very engineering dominated profession. So engineering, planning, design, those kinds of things, which was historically very male. And I can clearly recall the first meetings that I went to in the role that I was in at the time, which was at a regional planning commission. Everyone always assumed that I was the administrative professional in the room. And administrative professionals are key to the success of organizations. But the assumption that that was my role versus that I might have some other professional role to contribute was always an interesting one. And so you were, but there was a group of women and a group of really strong male mentors, both, who really, I think all along the way, we just kind of supported each other's journey. We, like I used to call it blocking and tackling, people who are clearing your path out so that you can move forward, and people who are behind supporting you to make sure that the execution of whatever happens. So it has certainly been an interesting journey, early on even more so, but nonetheless a really, I think, valuable one. And I do think, and I'd be interested in your perspective on this as well, I do think as women, since all of our experiences shape us, and being a woman in that kind of industry shapes you, it also means we bring different things to the table, that are, and diversity at the table of all kinds, approach, everything, ideas, all those things are so important. And I can see the influence of that in my own industry. I wonder how you see that in yours.
I think it's very similar. I would say some of what we're looking at as an industry is this community focus, and what does that mean? And I can only feel like women at the table has helped that conversation come along, and how to listen and watch and observe and then execute and sort of take the pause. Like, I feel like that's something that's been driven by more women in the field than my male mentors. There are some of my male colleagues that are very good at that and moving that forward. But for the most part, it's the how does this look now, and how do we build this and really shape the mold that a lot of the rest of the orchestras across the country follow.
Absolutely. I think, initially, I was recently asked this question about who was a great influencer on me, and I said, it was absolutely my mom. Who grew up in certainly a far more traditional time and so forth, had a career, but she always instilled in me this belief that you can do anything. Whatever it is you want to do, you can go and do, and that you should believe that about yourself. And so I really credit that foundation for making so many things possible. And I have also taken it on as a responsibility, as I expect you have. It's certainly good to serve as mentors to young talent that's coming up, including the young women that are around us. But you can't mentor everybody, but you can be seen. And there's something about just the representation, about people being able to see you at the table, that can inspire them to think, I can go do that. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you've had those experiences as well.
And I would say it's I grew up this similar way, where my mom felt like you can do anything, and that was really instilled in me at a very young age. And I would also say my grandfather influenced some of it as well, because he also said, you can do anything. And also, when I would doubt myself, he would remind me, you only need to stay 2 pages ahead of everyone. So,
just 2 pages.
You just need to stay 2 pages ahead, and you can do it. Like, don't try to learn it all. Just stay 2 pages ahead. And I have taken that to heart as my career has progressed, and as I've come up through different things. One, that I can do anything, but also to be the idea of staying 2 pages ahead. Be brave enough to sit at the table and have a voice.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that it took me a little bit to learn. I remember there was a point early on in my career that I was in education, in an education role, and I hadn't really encountered it to the extent, but everyone was going around the table introducing themselves, and they were using their titles of doctor or professor or whatever. And I realized sitting there that I did have a title that I could use to introduce myself. And that was the moment to do so, or else I wasn't going to be heard. So it was no longer sitting back and being quiet about it. It was owning that and using that to make sure that I'm heard. And that was probably my first experience of needing to really push myself to have a voice at a male-dominated table, to be heard. Because as soon as I introduced myself as Dr. Amy Williams, which I don't do very often, I suddenly had so much more respect, and I had said so many things before that, but it wasn't until that moment that I was really actually being listened to.
Very good. I think I'm so proud to be sitting at the table with someone that shares, I think, this sense of responsibility that we have, both to continue to clear the path and to support those, and to have that voice at the table so that others' voices can be heard too. It's absolutely critically important, especially I think that there is a certain amount of privilege that we both enjoy too by education and those kinds of things. And I never, ever for a moment forget the responsibility that comes with that. You've always got to be thinking about it.
Absolutely.
So we'll shift back for just a minute to the future of the Savannah Philharmonic and CAT. So let's talk a little bit about, where do you see the Philharmonic in 5 years, and what are your dreams for this future?
My dream is that the Philharmonic is a household name. That's really sort of at the heart of what I believe in, and back in linking it to our previous conversation, what I feel I'm responsible for, and that's truly to my heart, to make that be a household name, so that not everyone needs to come to the Philharmonic. That might not be of an interest to them, and that's fine. But I want them to know they could, and to have access to being able to come, and knowing that we have transportation that can get them there if they don't have their own transportation. So that's where I really see that. That's where I would like to see it in 5 years, and in that growth. And this is just the start of this relationship.
Absolutely. So if I were to look at CAT in 2035, I see that over half of our fleet is electric. We're making really strong strides there and take that sustainability responsibility so seriously. I think that we have micro-transit zones that are serving all of Chatham County, in addition to a really well-developed and richer, higher performing fixed route network, and paratransit, our seniors and differently abled customers that get excellence of service. Our stops and shelters are comfortable and reliable services there, but it's also feels there's lighting, and it feels like a welcoming environment while you're waiting for your trip, because every transit trip starts at the stop, not once you get on the bus, and then so we've expanded and we're serving. We've got new hybrid ferries that are out there serving in 2035, and we've grown. We're also providing access to the jobs that are all around us in nearby counties, because we're such a regional economic center now, and to your point, CAT is a household name. Everybody thinks that, well, I may drive my car today, but you know what? I may just go ahead and take CAT. I may just call up the microtransit and go to the places that I need and want to go. Or for those that are more reliant on us, they know that we're going to be there for them. And it's a high quality product and a recognized brand. So it's another place where we share our missions of what we want to be and what we want to do. We want to be CAT for everyone, just like you want to be
music for everyone.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to the opportunities for us to continue to work together to music and mobility. It's got a ring to it.
It does.
It does. Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for this edition of CATCast. I'm so proud to have had Amy Williams with me, and for us to enjoy the music treat that you're also getting with this broadcast today. We'll see you again next month.
And that concludes today's CATCast. A massive thank you to Dr. Amy Williams, Sinisa Ciric, and Brad Behr for taking us on a magical musical journey through sound and transportation. And finally, thank you to the listener for tuning in. There will be more exciting episodes to come. Until then, take care and catch a cat.